Hi, good day everybody. My name is Tancoo. I'm the Member of Parliament for Oropouche West. I'm also the shadow representative for the Ministry of Finance on the opposition's behalf in the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago, and I'm the chair of the Public Accounts Committee of the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago. The reason for me calling this press conference here today is because I believe that my country is suffering the devastating effects of one more crisis. Another crisis that the government refuses to accept exists. We are aware that the government has insisted that there is no foreign exchange crisis, yet citizens cannot get foreign exchange. We are aware that the government behaves as if there is no national security crisis, yet citizens are living in fear of being slaughtered on a daily basis. Today I bring one more crisis, one more of these substantial crises that are putting the risks of the lives of citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. Today I bring to you, Trinidad and Tobago, the water crisis that is facing South and Central Trinidad in particular, but also there are parts of East Trinidad that are adversely affected. The ministry simply refuses to accept. This is the Ministry of Public Utilities headed by Marvin Gonzalez. Simply refuses to accept that they have been in office, the PNM has been in office for the last 8 years and have done nothing to improve the quality and distribution of services, especially water, to citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. I have found that is completely unacceptable. What made this thing worst is that over the weekend, I attended several homes in South and Central Trinidad, and what I found there were citizens who were telling me that they have not had a water supply from the government of Trinidad and Tobago, from WASA, for upwards of a month. Visualize 31 days without water in your taps and water in your tanks. Visualize that, ladies and gentlemen, and that is what people are being forced to experience today. That has all kinds of health implications. As a result, it also has all kinds of safety implications. We cannot continue this, ladies and gentlemen. I think the government is deliberately putting the lives of people of Trinidad and Tobago at risk for the sake of politics, and I call on Marvin Gonzalez to stop playing water politics with the lives of citizens of this country. In July 28, 2010, the United Nations General Assembly has adopted a historic resolution recognizing, and I quote, the right to safe and clean drinking water and sanitation as a human right that is essential for the full enjoyment of life and all human rights. What that basically says is that water and the right to water is so critical. It is one of the most critical characteristics and factors to facilitate the full enjoyment of life. And in Trinidad and Tobago, the government has continued to fail. So they are failing on foreign exchange, they are failing on the economy, they are failing in business, they are failing on the fight against crime, and they are failing citizens in providing the most basic nutritional requirement, which is water. So when you have the Minister of Health, for example, telling people that they must stop eating fast food, they must increase their content of fruits and vegetables, that is an indication of how disconnected, the government of this country is with the realities facing citizens of this country. People do not have money to buy food. People do not have money to buy food in this country. They are tossing up between buying food and buying medication. It is that basic. And the Minister of Health version of this thing, the Minister of Health solution, is to stop buying cheap food, which is all people can afford right now. It is to stop buying cheap food, but buy higher products. I wonder if he's aware of how expensive these fruits and vegetables that he keeps speaking about. And the fact is that the government has also not dealt with the farmers. Farmers in my community and elsewhere are also complaining about the lack of water. The lack of water is so basic a requirement for the agriculture. It has a ripple-on effect. And yes, Minister, I have had several reports from doctors in Oropouche West, and in Hoover, who are the diseases associated with waterborne illnesses and dust. When we have water problems in Oropouche West, we have flooding. In several parts of this country we have flooding. And people do not have water to wash out the drains and courses, etc. This is the failure of the Ministry of Public Utilities to ensure that people have potable water. Ladies and gentlemen, at every stage of this government, failure. I've been aware that I was going to do a press conference today on the issue. I have multiple persons reaching out to tell me about the conditions that they have been faced and how long they have been without water. Opportunity to call the WASA hotline. That is the 800-4420 hotline, which they call inventory to regular people, ordinary people, on a continuous basis, who are going through this exact situation where they are calling hours on end, having been made to wait for hours to get water. Is 21 days. According to the minister, 21 days maximum, and for him the majority of people get water within 2 weeks. And while it is easy for WASA to say, I'm sorry, we can't give you water now, it will take another week. When you look at what citizens have to go through, and those persons I met with over the weekend, Mr. Ramjatan and others, when you look at what they have to go through. So I use this platform to appeal to the government to remove this concept and this application of property tax of persons who do not have basic requirements such as water. Remove the property tax, because what you are doing is this: you are further impoverishing people who cannot accept it. Citizens are now calling this office, my office as a member of parliament, to ask for the number to get a truck-borne water supply, for which they are willing to pay, because they have no confidence now in getting water from us. We have got these people together to express their views. The government has turned their face away and closed their eyes and their ears to the concerns of citizens of Trinidad. Can you imagine persons who are... And when I asked the Minister of Public Utilities for an explanation, for a plan, for some hope to give to the residents of this country, residents of this constituency of Oropouche West, residents of Siparia, residents of Oropouche East, residents of Point Fortin, residents of Faizabad, residents of San Fernando. When I asked the Minister to give some level of support, some level of hope to these persons, the Minister's response in Parliament was that he is proud to say that people are getting more water now than they ever have been getting. People are getting water in constituencies, in parts of the constituencies where they never had before. But I don't know where this minister has been. But South Trinidad is living now in a water crisis, and this is unacceptable. I call on the Minister of Public Utilities to resign from his job and give somebody else a chance to do a proper job in securing water for all, 24/7. We are no longer willing to accept water every month, once per month if you're lucky. We are no longer willing to accept having to pay for water. We are no longer willing to accept having to pay for water when, while you drive around the streets of Trinidad and Tobago, you could see on social media in particular, you can see water gushing freely all over the country except in Central and South Trinidad. That is not acceptable. Now I know that the ministry is very inclined to eliminate WASA. I know that that is the intention of the minister. And I know the minister will use every tool at his disposal to justify his actions. This is the same method that they use with Petrotrin, that they use with TNTech, and that they will continue to use with the Revenue Authority, etc. This is the same method that they have used. They underfund, they undermine, they barless, they sabotage the institution so that they can cancel it off and bring in what they want. We are now seeing the crisis of CAL. Just now we are going to see the crisis of WASA, because the government is going to use the fact that they are underfunded WASA and made it unable to deliver on its commitment to provide water 24/7 as a justification to shut down WASA. I believe the problem is not in WASA. I believe the problem is at the government level. I believe that the problem is that the Minister of Public Utilities continues to engage in petty water politics and play with the lives of citizens of this country. And I think that that is unacceptable. I challenge the minister to come to Oropouche West. I have requested a meeting between the ministry, between WASA, and the residents of Oropouche West, Oropouche East, and Faizabad, who are willing to come and explain to the ministry what their state of life is as a result of the minister's failure. I await response. I already had a response from WASA, who has indicated by its CEO that they are interested and willing to meet, but the ministry continues to ignore our pleas. We will meet. All that is required is for the government to come clean with the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. 3 years ago, when I first assumed office, I arranged a meeting between WASA officials and the regional corporation representatives. And at that meeting, we were told that wells were going to be refurbished, wells were going to be dug to facilitate and increase water supply in this constituency and in South Trinidad generally. 2.5 years passed since that meeting. And instead of things getting better, they have gotten worse. The result of the expenditure of billions of by the Ministry of Public Utilities, by WASA, by the minister himself, is because of what I want to add complete incompetence to that. The minister is completely incompetent. We are paying a minister his salary, we are paying drivers, we are paying for his telephone. Taxpayers are paying for that, and we are now being asked bottled water because they cannot get water in their taps. We have a local government situation in Trinidad and Tobago in Oropouche West. We are governed by 2 regional corporations. The government would have failed, and we should not be paying taxes. We should not be paying the salaries of MPs, ministers who are doing their job. And in my humblest of humble views, Minister, I think it is time that you stand up and speak out. Demand that you get the resources for which you are paying. That the ministry and the ministers stop playing games with your lives. Until that happens, we are going to trace, Centennial trace, Robertson trace, Suklal trace, Maria David trace, Berbal trace, Bachia trace, Branch trace, Ragunanan trace, La Fortune Pluck Road, Jackson trace, Bay trace, Mongol trace 1 and 2, Sign Village. I also want to mention something else. I'm being told that we have situations where employees of WASA and other individuals are closing off the valves so that certain areas are not getting water. I have raised this issue with the CEO of WASA before, and I call again on him to do a proper investigation to see who is manning these valves to ensure that citizens of our country, citizens who are tax-paying, right-thinking, legally minded citizens, do not continue to experience discrimination at the hands of this government. I thank you all very, very much. If there are any questions from media?
MP, now in your statement that you made mention about these situations with no water, and you're planning to have meeting and consultation with the authorities. If this doesn't happen, what's next? What do you plan to do next?
That's a very, very good question. At a meeting we had with regards to flood abatement recently, I indicated that we are getting drastic measures will have to be taken to wake up this government. Petitions and so on and so on. I have tried in the last 2.5 years, 3 years now, to do the right thing to ensure that citizens receive, where citizens are extremely unhappy with the state of our country. I could tell you that I know for a fact, having spoken to many people, that people are stay focused. Let us use whatever lawful means we can to protest, to raise these issues, but we must do so united. It is